where does your inspiration come from? We need some kind of an inspiration for the story that you want to tell, whether that's a movie, a game, an animation. We can do this through any number of different types of avenues. Generally, when we're structuring a story, the first methodology, and we see this traditionally in theater, is the creation of a three-act play. You've got the beginning, where you start your audience on the story and the action. You introduce the characters, introduce the problem that they're trying to solve, and what's the challenges that they're trying to do. Middle act or act two, there shows the obstacles. What has to be overcome to resolve this problem? How am I going to do this? And then act three is the finale or the problem solved. We see this most traditionally in theater or in movies. You spend 20 minutes introducing, 20 minutes doing to 30 minutes doing the act two, overcoming the obstacles. And then act three is about the finale, or the problem is resolved, that last 15, 20 minutes of the show. Very standard use, and that's why you see so many movies that are about 90 minutes long. They spend around 30 minutes on each act or part of the story and to move the story along. So, and anybody that's lacking in story to it, they usually fill up with action. We need a car chase, a gunfight, some kind of a fight in there to fill this out. So traditional structure is the three-act play. We see that regularly in game design as well as film. So it can be very valuable in that. The more popular methodology nowadays is the creation of the monomyth, or the hero's journey. Now, this was originally brought about by Joseph Campbell back in I think it was the late 60s. He proposed that the best stories are the hero's quest. And he was looking back to classic mythologies, such as the story of Hercules or Achilles. We've got the battles that occurred and the classic stories. King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table. These are examples of hero's quests. Now, there's 8 classic stages of a hero's journey used, and these are used in classic or current modern stories, such as Star Wars and The Matrix. So stage 1 of the hero's quest, and you'll probably hear this again if you take fiction writing or some of the English classes, they really love the hero's quest. So, but we're going to do a brief overview of what the hero's quest is in this. First of all, there's the exposition, where you've got an ordinary character. You show them in their ordinary surroundings. In Final Fantasy, the ordinary world is alluded to in its introduction of the game. It was a day like any other day. In Star Wars, we have Luke working on the farm. Of course, we're talking about Star Wars Episode 3. The first one that came out. In The Matrix, we've got Neo working at a computer hacking something. In the Lord of the Rings, we've got a celebration or a party as the hobbits are celebrating the old age and the retirement of a main character beloved from The Hobbit. So then we've got the call to adventure. The characters have received some kind of a message that there's more out there. We need you for something. In Star Wars, Princess Leia message is shown to Luke. And then in The Matrix, Neo is told to follow the white rabbit. And it's just things to pull them into the adventure. After the call to adventure, we have the refusal. The hero goes, oh, well, gee, that's nice, but I've got other things to do, and this is hard. This could get me hurt. there's pain involved in this. I'm not sure I want to be a hero. And this, again, classic hero's quest story. In Star Wars, we have Luke wants to help with the harvest instead of go rescue the princess. It's like, yeah, let's go back to the farm because, he was needed and they needed his help to bring in the harvest. In the Matrix, Neo needed to climb out the window to save himself and he refused to do it. Then new information comes along. Maybe supernatural aid arrives. The hero questions their decision to reject the call. It's like, did I do the right thing to go back and harvest the beans and the corn? Or maybe I should have climbed out that window. Maybe I should have made the risk. Star Wars, Obi-Wan rescues Luke from the Sand People. Going to throw him into that big pit monster thing that would eat him. In the Matrix, Trinity extracts the bug from Neo, and he suddenly realizes, hey, there's more going on here. There was a bug inside me, moving around. This is not good. Departure, they join the adventure. They say, well, I don't have any other options. The farm is destroyed. I've got to go on the adventure. So Luke leaves Tatooine. In the Matrix, the agents capture Neo, and that is where he enters truly. The Matrix is not what, the world around him is not what he thought it was. Something then goes wrong on the adventure. It's the first real obstacle that they encounter in this, and it puts them in the belly of the whale. In Star Wars, actually there's two bellies of the whale in Star Wars. We've got the trash compactor when they're trying to rescue the Princess Leia, and the trash compactor is going to squish them. That's one belly of the whale that they've got to escape. But there's also the literal belly of the whale when they're flying around and they're hiding inside the asteroid. Yeah, we're not. This is bad, and they have to escape the belly of the whale. In the Matrix, we've got Neo in the torture room where they make his mouth grow shut. And it's kind of the special effects at that time. It was like, wow, making his mouth grow shut. That was so cool. Okay. So then comes the testing or the road of trials. The hero must learn the basics of being a hero. In Star Wars, Luke starts lightsaber practice, keeps getting shocked. But the little glowing ball that's floating around, he's got to try and hit it with his lightsaber. In the Matrix, Neo starts sparring with Morpheus. He comes back after jacking in and getting all the training on, I can fight, show me. And they have an epic battle. It's pretty cool. It's like, yeah, this is neat stuff. Then they receive their reward. Now, sometimes the story stops at this point. They complete their first challenge, and some stories stop here, and that's it. They've completed the first major challenge. They get a reward from this. In Star Wars, they rescue Princess Leia. In Matrix, Leo is able to help Trinity. And so they're able to rescue the princess, or meeting the goddess, as it's also referred to. Then comes the temptation from the true path, or sometimes also called woman as temptress. The temptation comes that lures the hero or someone else from the true path. In Star Wars, Luke is tempted by the dark side. Join me. Join the dark side. Come over. It's good over here. We have a sauna. Come on. It's good. Matrix. Cypher is tempted by the world of comfort. And we've got the scene of him visiting the Matrix and It's like, why does everything taste like chicken? Anyway, we'll move on. There's the atonement with the Father. Some kind of revelation or reconciliation that might come about with a father figure or the actual father. Luke and Darth Vader reconcile. Luke, I am your father. No, it can't be. And then Darth Vader sacrifices himself, saving Luke and protecting him. Matrix, Neo rescues and agrees with Morpheus that he is the one. Starts dodging bullets and holding on to helicopters that are falling and doing all kinds of cool, super stuff. And they become nearly godlike. They've gained new powers, new understanding of what it is to be the hero. So Luke becomes a full Jedi. His Jedi mind tricks and starts doing all kinds of cool stuff. Neo becomes the one. And it's like finally they've embraced who they are, and they're the hero, and they're doing all kinds of cool stuff. So then, because they've accomplished a major task or defeated the enemy in some way, they receive some kind of a reward for this. In Star Wars, there's the destruction of the Death Star. In the Matrix, humanity's salvation is within reach, and they start having a big party. Then we need to have a sequel. So the enemy resurfaces. The enemy escapes. In Star Wars, that's, of course, Darth Vader literally escapes from the Death Star. So we know he'll be in the next episode. And in The Matrix, Neo has to face Agent Smith. And they keep making more Agent Smiths. It's kind of scary. Refuses, the hero won't leave everyone else when everyone else is trying to escape. Luke wants to avenge Obi-Wan after he's killed. In The Matrix, Neo wants to fight Agent Smith rather than leaving the Matrix. And then we also include inside the story somewhere, there's always a magical flight. And it doesn't necessarily, frequently it's put at the beginning, but it might be midway or even at the end. In the magical flight for Star Wars, that's accomplished with the Millennium Falcon. We can fly that around and jump to light speed and get anywhere we need to be. In the Matrix, that is jacking in. We can connect to the Matrix and have more control. It is critical in most HeroQuest stories that the hero does need help from other people. There are other people there that provide support so that they can accomplish what needs to be done. In Star Wars, Han saves Luke from Darth Vader. In Matrix, Trinity saves Neo from the agents. So, got to have these people to help them get that done. Ben brought up in the comments that Avatar is another example of Hero's Quest. So, yes, another very good example of a Hero's Quest story. So then there's some kind of final obstacle that needs to be overcome to accomplish their major task. In Star Wars, we see this as the Millennium Falcon. Han said, I'm leaving, I'm out of here, I'm not going to be part of this fight. And then he shows back up to help at the last minute so that Luke can complete his mission. In The Matrix, Neo fights Agent Smith. He fights Agent Smith a lot. That's a reoccurring thing. It's a great scene, great fight scene. After the victory, the hero and their friends are celebrating, and so we show that the hero is a master of two worlds. They're enjoying this celebration. In The Matrix, this concludes with Neo's phone call back to the Matrix, saying, we're coming for you. We're going to, things are about to change. You're no longer in control. We've got the keys. In Star Wars, they're having a party. So finally, there's peace for the people. In Star Wars, the rebellion is victorious over the Empire. Yay, rebels! And they're feel like they are victorious in this. Matrix, humanity is victorious over the machines and gains their freedom from the little pods that they were living in and could have, more normal lives. So there's certain common elements that we do see in the classic Hero's Quest. There's always going to be two worlds. One is the mundane, one is special. We've got the mentor. Now, I always loved the Matrix because they were so good about coming up with great names for all the great characters that are part of this. Now, for the mentor, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi. Matrix, it's Morpheus. There's also always some kind of an oracle, someone who provides wisdom to those that are in need of the wisdom. In Star Wars, that's Yoda. In the Matrix, again, they're really original with the naming. It's called the Oracle. It's like, yeah, let's be real obvious about this. There's usually some kind of a prophecy. Star Wars, Luke will overthrow the Emperor. In the Matrix, Morpheus will find the one. There's some type of pretending to be the enemy, or in other words, wearing the enemy's skin. Luke and Han wear stormtrooper outfits. In the Matrix, Neo jumps into the agent's skin and literally, makes them explode. It's awesome. It's not very gory either. There's a shapeshifter, someone you're not sure if you can really trust them or not. Star Wars, we've got Han Solo. In the Matrix, that's Cypher. And then there's the failed hero. Star Wars, Biggs was the failed hero. They thought he was going to be the one to overthrow the Emperor. He didn't. And then in the Matrix, we've got, again, Cypher is the failed hero. They told him he would be the one. There needs to be some kind of, when we're creating our game, creating our story, there needs to be a high concept, a premise that gives the overall theme to the story that we're telling. Usually, when we're writing the high concept, or what the premise of the story is going to be, that is done from the second person point of view. It's not told from first person or third person, we tell it from the second person. For example, in Half-Life, take the role of Gordon Freeman, an ordinary technician who's forced to battle transdimensional monsters after an accident at a secret research facility. And so that is the premise of the story that's being told. What is the backstory? What happened before the story begins? Usually, the more backstory you can put into what you're creating, the better your story is going to be. And I would use J.R.R. Tolkien's work as an excellent example of what that means. If you've ever read The Silmarillion, which is pretty rough reading, but it gives thousands of years of history to get to the point. He wrote more about the back history than the actual stories themselves that are part of Middle-earth. The Silmarillion and all the back history that he wrote for the storytelling to be able to create The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings is immense. But he needed that thousands of years of history to create the backstory so that there was depth and meaning inside that story. So if you really want to create something that lasts, let's face it, how long has the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings stories been out there? I think they came out in the 50s, 1950s. So 70 years, this has been a classic story with multiple remakes and multiple tellings, and they're still selling the books. His heirs are still benefiting from his work in creating these stories. So, I've always told DET majors that come up with your own intellectual property. Come up with your own story. Don't do a remake of what somebody else has done. Come up with something original. And that's part of that, coming up with that backstory, that something that people are going to care about. And part of that is giving it a history. Because, you know, what else are the geeks going to fixate on? It's look at the fixation that people have with Star Wars and Star Trek and The Matrix and Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is responsible for the whole birthing of Dungeons and Dragons and all the other fantasy genre that comes from that. These are because of the hours and years that Tolkien put into creating this reality. People could immerse themselves in that. So, and that is through creating a really strong backstory. And I'll warn you that it came up in the comments. I need to read the Silmarillion. It is dense reading, and it's more of a history. Though I've heard that his grandson has rewritten it to make it more digestible. I haven't had a chance to read that yet, so hopefully that is better. Maybe something over Christmas break. Okay, so also a story needs a synopsis. What's the running storyline? What do we need? What are we trying to accomplish in the game or the movie? What's the theme? What is the story really about? What's the meaning behind what we're trying to tell? Usually it's fairly simple, something that we're trying to accomplish. Maybe it's you have Harry Potter. You know, what was the theme of Harry Potter? He says that it's like the last line of the last movie or the last book. You get to choose. You have the choice. You choose your own destiny. You have control of your choices. And that's what the whole, 7 books is about, is you have the choice. It's you make the choices for your life. And where's the setting? Where's the story going to take place in? What's the environment? What are the rules and the laws of society, of the physics, of if there's a magic system, how does that magic system work? What are the rules? There's got to be some kind of a rule system for whatever it is that you're creating. What's the plot of the story? Now this, you can get all the other stuff right, but if you don't have a good plot, if you don't have characters that people care about, it's not going to be good. So we've got to develop the characters. We've got to tell a story that people are that is relatable. That even if it's taking place in another world, if it's a fantasy or fiction, that it has to be somehow relatable, that we care about, whether that's overthrowing a system that is repressive or overcoming a challenge that's doing that. Star Trek is a great example of really creating good themes and plots throughout that to show changes that needed to happen in society. And sometimes they were very thinly veiled, sometimes they were a little bit more subtle, but it really does, it's incredibly important to have a good plot for telling that story. Help me suspend my disbelief. Help me to believe in your world, which means we need to have some kind of realism inside that story to create that connection. Also, I love a little bit of good foreshadowing. Give me a hint of what's to come so that I have to watch the movie more than once, or I need to play the game more than once to catch all the good foreshadowing. Because, if you're creating the game, you're creating the story, you're creating the movie, You know how it ends, right? You should. What's the conclusion? So give me some foreshadowing to that story at the very beginning. Give some hints, subtle hints. Don't give it all away. But a little bit of foreshadowing can really make it a lot more enjoyable. Let's see. I think we'll stop there at story devices, and we'll pick up with story devices next time. Thursday for class. Let me shift the sharing back. So Thursday for class, we're going to be doing our side quest turn-ins. We're going to do that 100% by Zoom. So what I think we're going to do, rather than, there's really no need for us to meet physically if everybody's sharing their content through Zoom. And that does help us to do the social distancing, and plus you don't have to get up as early. So, well, maybe you have to get up as early, but you don't have to traipse around campus to get here. So I'm going to launch the Zoom meeting from my office, and then everybody can show what it is that you're working on for your side quest via the system, okay? So that we're going to try it that way. Any questions? Nope. Okay, so Thursday we will meet, and I'll send an email out probably tomorrow about how we're going to, reminding everybody that we're going to connect by Zoom, especially for the people that weren't able to be here today. And that way everybody will hopefully know what's going on. And if they show up to class, it's their own fault for not checking their email, right? Right. Okay. That's what I've got for today. So side quest turn-ins, keep working on your projects. I'll probably be posting the next assignment very soon. I'll give you some details about that on Thursday after you turn in your Be Gone with the Wind. Okay? All right, that's it. Thank you.